Wow, thank you for joining us. This is Sararights TV, and today is Saturday, 22nd of August, 2026. We are almost coming to the end of this very month right here, and today happens to be one of the beautiful day, and I can see in Arua City the weather is very chilly right there. But today in our program we are coming for our news digest particularly, and we are going to discuss what has been happening throughout this week, majorly locally, not only locally, internationally, even right here within the national scene right here. And a lot of things have been happening throughout the week right there. But before we proceed, allow me to highlight one or two things for you and what has been the topic and the trending story that has been happening within the country or outside the country. And the biggest of all has been the Wasese Primary School winning the Fiasa tournament right there in Tanzania, right there. But not only that, and also within the country and the side of Nebidea, 538 pupils only sharing 3 teachers right there. It's very bad there. But the biggest of all has been the woman jailed for life as two convicts get 35 and 30 years right there. Not only that, ministers orders arrest of journalists over story on RDC recruitment. This story has been trending this right there in this week. But not only that, the biggest of all is right there in Zambia, and I'm seeing the Zambian people are celebrating their president after retaining another seat right there. That is Zambian Hichilema wins re-election with 60% of vote. What about Savino joining Tottenham Hotspur from Manchester City? And I'll be giving you everything right here. I am Drani Sunday, your host at the Sararights TV here. I hope you will enjoy everything right here with me. And wherever you are, I must say you are most welcome for this program. And it is not something easy. And if you're not been getting what is happening in the country, and this is the right time for you just to tune the Sararights TV, and you will get everything right here. And today I am alone. Letasi is not here with me. Even Galadino is not here with me. But my man behind the camera, that is Tony, is right here with me. Thank you so much, Tony, and everyone out there. I greet you in this time. But before we proceed, like I tell you before, the one of the school in Nebi is struggling right there. That is Paleo NFE school in Nebi district is struggling with severe overcrowding in adequate classroom, even shortage of teachers, and desk has left 538 people studying on bare floors and in makeshift structures there. And this school, remember, it has stayed now 25 years, but still they are suffering. No classrooms, even they have a few teachers, only 3 teachers are teaching them. So meaning it has been something they have been struggling right there in Nebi district, and it's something which is alarming right there. But we're yet going to see whether government will even come up and see what best they can do to help this school. And this school registered 340 primary 1 and 134 primary 2 and 64 right there in primary 3. And remember, in the lower classes, they have no desk. Even it is now forcing them to sit on floor right there. But there was a rumor that since 2000 there are some well-wishers who come up and help the school and build some grass there for them. But right now, the school is suffering only 3 teachers. But I'm yet to get more from the GO from Nebi district, whether they can help the school at least to give more schools, more teachers to that. According to Teddy Oyero, that is their head teacher of Paleo NFE schools, the school never had a permanent classrooms for primary 3 because it originally offered only primary 2, primary 3, because primary 1 and primary 2, whereby the shortage has also increased the workload on the head teacher right there. Innocent Opentho, the Nebi district education officer, said the district has written to the Ministry of Education and Sports seeking to have all 7 non-formal education centers in the district upgraded in fully flagged primary schools there. But this letter is also yet to follow. Whether and the Ministry of Education and Sports will come up and give another help to this school. But this is exactly what we are going to see, whether the school will gain some support right there. But according to the data, Nebi District Education Department shows that the district has 979 teachers serving 102 government-aided primary school. But what about this school called Paleo Primary School right there? Out of 979, only 3 teachers to this school. According to me, it's not something good because the school has more than 500 kids right there. But Paleo NFE school received ceilings, that is according to the report, 1.7 million last year. But the money was not enough, and it was increased this year up to 2 million, and still it was not enough. However, school administration said that the funding remains insufficient to address the school's needs, including supporting additional teachers through parent teachers association contribution. Paleo NF is one of 7 NF centers operating as complementary opportunities for primary education centers in Nebi district, and this is what has been happening in Nebi. But we are all going to see whether the government will also come up and give much support to this school. Over 500 people in a school, but serving only 3 teachers. They are lacking classrooms. They have few desks. Many are sitting on floor, meaning government have to come up and give something very, very good to this school so that the kids will remain in this school in Paleo NFA Primary School right there in Nebi district. Thank you so much. But I'm sure government will do something right there. But not only that, the biggest of all that has been trending in Uganda over this week is a lady, let me say a woman, jailed for life as 2 co-convicts get 35 and 30 years. This story has been right there, and this time around, the Sararights High Court has sentenced these people. But this week, this is exactly what has been happening. The Sararights High Court has sentenced the lady called Susan Vivian Ariokote, the wife of the director of Josan Nursery and Primary School, to life in prison for the ritual murder of 5-year-old Joan Faith Appeal, while her husband Joseph Okedi has been handed 30 years in jail, and his brother Detective Corporal John Bosco Obotol was handed a 35-year sentence right there. And like I said, this woman called Susan Vivian Ariokota, this incident happened in way back in 2025 in Sararights, right there. This lady was involved in the killings of this 5-year-old lady called Joan Faith Appeal. Now the court ordered an arrest of these people, including the cook, the head teacher, even the matron. But the Justice Boniface Wamala sentenced Susan Vivian Ariokote, the wife of fellow school director Joseph Okedi, to life imprisonment after finding that the aggravating circumstances surrounding the killing outweigh the mitigating factors right there. But the court, however, acquitted and freed school cook Valentin Appeal after arrest because he was initially arrested, but later he was freed, including the head teacher James Odoket and school matron Osula Adong, ruling that the prosecution had failed to adduce sufficient evidence linking them to the murder right there, meaning they are free. They have nothing with that because what is now important is accurate being sentenced right there. But Apio was found dead in a school toilet in Soroti City Division, February 5th, 2025, way back last year there, in a case that attracted widespread public attention across the Teso sub-region right there. But the prosecution had alleged that the child was unlawfully killed with malice aforethought. 6 adults were initially charged with the murder in that case right there. But in his sentencing remarks, Judge Wamala said the offense fell within circumstances that could legally justify the death penalty, particularly because of the brutal manner in which the child was killed. However, the judge said the sentencing guidelines require the death penalty to be reserved for exceptional and rarest of the rare cases, meaning the court was required to consider both aggravating and mitigating circumstances before determining the appropriate punishment, meaning Judge Wamala said the court considered the gravity of the offense before he proceeded. Then the aggravating and mitigating circumstances and sentence imposed in comparable cases right there. Among the aggravating factors, the judge cited the horrific and inhuman manner in which Apio was killed. The court had heard that the child suffered extensive injuries to her neck, resulting in severe blood loss. Judge Wamala said the evidence showed extensive damage to tissues, meaning not only tissues and also to harm muscles and blood vessels in the child's neck right there, meaning the child was brutally killed in that toilet. The judge also described the killing as an act of child sacrifice, saying such conduct was gross and evil and had caused immense pain and trauma right there, meaning in Soroti, when the judgment day came, many people went there to see how the ruling will just go, because they were expecting even to have a death penalty on this lady called Akorote, but it happened. Now she was sentenced as in life imprisonment, even including the husband was handed 30 years in jail, and the brother of the husband was given 35 years in jail. And this is exactly what is happening there. But the judge also continued and saying that the sentence should serve a deterrent the convict and anyone else who might complicate engaging in similar acts right there. But while sentencing Arua City to life imprisonment, the judge said there was legal justification for imposing the death penalty, particularly given her circumstances, but that the mitigating factors did not justify imposing the ultimate punishment right there. But on Detective Obotol, Judge Wamala said that although he did not physically participate in the assault that led to Apio's death, but the evidence showed that he was involved in planning and executing the murder. The judge said Obotol's punishment as a police officer whose responsibility is to detect, investigate, and prevent crime placed a higher duty on him right there. Judge Wamala therefore sentenced him to 35 years in prison. For now, how old is he? And he is going to serve that 35 years in jail after the brother also serving 30 years, meaning he will serve 30 years and then after coming home, then he will stay 5 years, then the brother will also come back, meaning 35 is not something easy. But the wife who was completely charged will be in prison completely there. She will even die right there. That is it. But the trial was concluded during a special High Court session in Soroti after about 2.5 weeks of proceedings. That's Wamala had set August 18th for the court assessors to give their opinions before delivering the final judgment there. But the conviction and sentences bring to a close one of the most closely followed murder trials in Teso, following the death of the young people at the Jozan Nursery and the primary school right there. This story is just like a similar, the one of Susan Magara that happened way back in 2018 right there. Remember, Susan Magara was detained by those captives up at around 20 days before she was killed. Susan Magara was a businesswoman right there, but she was kidnapped by those unknown people. Then later she was killed because because those people, they needed some money, big amount of money. Then after that she was killed. Those culprits were arrested, remember, the other week, and then the court also come up with a good decision, and then 2 were sentenced to death. Others were also jailed right there. Meaning, some of these issues has been happening right there, but we are all going to see whether this thing will continue just like that. But otherwise, it's something very, very bad. Losing a very young lady right there in the names of appeal right there. I want to say also the team of Sararights, we are going to say that may have right in eternal peace right there. But such cases has been there in Uganda. The issue of kidnapping and other things has been right there. But otherwise, the court is trying their best. The security personnel are trying their best to make sure that such kinds of things have to be stopped in Uganda right there. Otherwise, away from the story of this woman and to the other areas also within Uganda, there's now this is exactly what happened. One of the many things happening there, but we are going to see whether this can continue like this in Uganda, because as you face journalists giving wrong information right there, but we want to see whether this thing can continue like this. But what about his arrest? What went wrong? Because he gave wrong information right there concerning the recruitment of RDCs right there. But the minister decided to order his arrest, that he need to be detained. And he was detained. He is called Remy Asiteza. He was detained in Kampala CPS, there, Kampala Central Police Station right there. But what is it? Is it a good idea for the journalist before you write a story? Is it good that you pause it and after maybe because some of the stories have a copyright, but you find many are not doing it in a way that we are doing it. But we as a journalist, anytime we can also fall in the same soup right there. But because if you cannot know that this story is it a good story to be run on air right there. But Remy Asiteza was arrested just because he wrote a story that brings a lot of concern, that RDCs were recruited, but There's nothing like that. Now we were yet going to see about this story, whether Ashiteza will come up with this, because he was a journalist at Daily Press right there. But many things happened there, but a lot of story are still concerning about his arrest right there. But many things are still happening. But what about what is exactly making the minister to arrest this journalist? Is it just because he wrote that story, or there's something wrong behind that, or there's a statement that creates something very alarming in that story? But we're all going to see whether that story is the one causing him a problem, or there's something behind that. Because sometimes in a newsroom whereby you can write your news, a lot of things need to be discovered. Because first of all, you go and write a news, you must know that this news you are coming up needs some audios, even some pics there, just for you to protect yourself. Because sometimes you write a news without any audio or without video, and one day the person can even come and arrest you that he did not do this. Why? What? How comes that you write a story about you? So a lot of things happening there. So meaning you need to come up with a story whereby there must be an audio, or there must be an evidence, so that you can easily be protected in a good way right there. Because a lot of things happening. Someone may even come somewhere and trying to vanish your image as a journalist. Not only you, but this person can even come somewhere to try to terminate the image of your maybe TV station or radio station where you are writing the news. Because most of the journalists are writing online news right there. But what about this one in Uganda? That is now happening because the minister decided to come up with this one and make sure that the guy called Remi Ashiteza must get detained there in Kampala right there. But we are still following the story about his arrest. Make sure that everything needs to be right here at the Sararights TV, because at the Sararights TV we give you everything, even locally, nationally, up to internationally, and it is very, very detailed, because we don't want you to go and somewhere. It's one of the best TV station in Arua City, and like I said, you can get us in many areas, not only here, but you can also get us in in YouTube. You can get us in TikTok. You can get us in Facebook. Even we're there in X handles, WhatsApp. We're there everywhere. We're there. Now the biggest is now only to give you the right information just here. We'll make sure that everything we're doing here is something which is very, very perfect. But we are still on our news digest right there. But remember, like I told you, a lot of things happening internationally, whereby Savino joining Manchester City joining Tottenham Hotspur from Manchester City. And remember also, it's part of weekly news digest, where Premier League started yesterday, and Arsenal winning 3-0 right there. And they are the champion of English Premier League, and beating their opponent, the champions of champions, right there. But we will give you everything right there. But before because a lot of things are still here, but we'll give you everything. But we are still talking about this journalist called Remi Ashiteza, because he is the journalist from Daily Express right there. But what about his arrest? like I posed a question said before, that is there anything different whereby he was arrested? Because after his arrest, a lot of things happen in Uganda. A lot of things happen in Uganda. Many are concerned about that, but it is something which is very alarming. But not only that, still in our news digest right there, Zambian President Hichilema winning the re-election right there in Zambia, beating his opponent right there in Zambia. But this is exactly what has been happening in Zambia. The Zambian people has been celebrating because he retained the position in the second term and to be in office. A lot of things have been happening there, and the opponent complained a lot that there has been malpractice and everything has been there. But we're all going to see whether it is going to stop right there. But the security personnel came in many there to rescue what is happening there. And like I said, Hichilema retaining his position as the president of Zambia right there. Not only that, Nigeria this week have been, not only this week, but this week there's a boat capsizing in one of the river in Nigeria. In it, 46 people died in it. Very sad story that, right there in Nigeria, but it has been happening over the years that Nigeria has been having a lot of accidents in Nigeria, in some of the rivers right there, just because of some of the bridges are not good. Not only that, even some of the roads are not good, and a lot of things happen there. It is now making many people in Nigeria to use road to use water transport that there. Sometimes they can use ferry, sometimes they can use boat. Now it is now making many people are now dying in Nigeria right there. Like I said, being the last one there, Savino joining joining Tottenham Hotspur from Manchester City. It has been something which has been trending this week after signing Sandro Tonali from Newcastle, and also signing one of the Portuguese midfielder, that is Matias Fernandes from the West Ham United. They even signed Van Hinken from Brighton and Hove Albion. They have signed Andy Robertson from Liverpool as a free, and not only that, Tottenham Hotspur continue to serve to buy more players right there. But we're going to see. They have a game today against Brentford City right there. But we will see whether Tottenham Hotspur will go up to where, because they have now spent more than 200 million per now. But they are still continue to buy players. Omar Mamous is also among the players they are planning to buy. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining for having been with me, and let's continue to be closely with the Sararights TV, and everything and all the programs here are moving on well, and everything from here. And I have to tell you that being with the Sararights TV will make your day always colorful, and you will get all the story and everything, even sports and everything at Sararights TV right here. It has been me, Drani Sunday, who has been doing the weekly news digest right here. Otherwise, I thank you and I thank you. May God bless you. Bye-bye.